Hit record. Welcome to another exciting episode of Professional Development with the Interactive Video Conferencing Professional Learning Network from ISTE. Today we're going to be chatting with Jan Zanitas from the Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration. My name again is Jason Robert Shaw. I'm down here in Sarasota, Florida at Mote Marine Laboratory. We're an interactive video conferencing content provider, and we make quite a bit of use of CILC services, and so looking forward to learning about some of the new things that they're going to be offering in the future too. But let's talk about Jan. She's an educator and university administrator who spent more than 20 years in K through 12 in higher education. In 2005, she moved into the corporate sector as an educational specialist, first with Tandberg and then also with Cisco. And then in 2013, she began her current role as the managing director of CILC. Jan's area of expertise is in the application of these kind of video technologies in education. She's written a book about it. She's also written educational journals, and she's frequently a presenter and keynoter at local, national, and international education conferences. If you've been to ISTE, you probably recognize her. She's been on the board there and is a very active and professional member of the group. And she's often presenting at other educational conferences as well. So today, Jan, I'm looking forward to learning more about CILC, and I'll hand it over to you to get us underway.
Okay, thanks, Jason. So yeah, I was thinking about it. I spent 20 years in the classroom, and then I discovered interactive video conferencing, and then I spent another 20 years doing that. So I guess I'm dating myself, about a 40-year career in education. But throughout the last 20 years, the two loves of my professional life has been ISTE and CILC. So I'm wearing a shirt that has both of those on it today. As Jason said, I'm on the board of directors at ISTE, so I'm kind of really deep in the trenches with them. But my day-to-day work is with the CILC, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. I've got a few slides that I want to share. And then also, if you look in the bottom of your screen, if you mouse over that bottom area, you'll see a little bubble that says chat. So if you have a question as we go along, I want you to just type your question or your comment in the chat area. And I'm going to have Jason sort of monitor that for me. And if you would keep your microphones muted, Tammy can help you with that part. That will help us so that we can get through the content, and then we'll throw the mics open and people can have a conversation. So let me start by sharing my screen. And let me put it on play from the start. So this is the things I want to talk to you about: who we are, what interactive video conferencing is and how it's used in K-12. We'll talk about how we can connect remote students to global resources and experts, and then also about connecting students to each other or collaborations. And finally, a little bit about connecting teachers to teachers through our PLN. Go. So let me start by just running you a Meet CILC video for those of you that are new to CILC. I think this sort of paints a picture better than me talking. So holler at me if you cannot see or hear the video.
Just imagine you, your learners, your colleagues, and fellow adventurers swimming through the vibrant marine life on the Great Barrier Reef.
So we're hearing it, but I'm not seeing it move.
Okay, let me try a different option and share it from my desktop. So hang in with me. Share screen, desktop. Here we go. Can you see it now?
Just imagine you, your learners, your colleagues, and fellow adventurers swimming through the...
Can you see it?
Yes, good go.
All right.
Vibrant marine life on the Great Barrier Reef, exploring the intricacies of engineering and architecture of the Statue of Liberty, assisting and hanging on every word of specialists during an autopsy, or dancing the fiery Argentine tango. Don't imagine, do.
Let's go take a look.
All of this and so much more is possible through interactive video conferencing, Once, these amazing experiences took several technical staff members and were only possible through the purchase of cumbersome, expensive equipment. However, today, interactive learning is easily accessible through the devices you may already own in your classroom. Through internet connection, devices such as a laptop or tablet will bring a world of astonishing interactive experiences right to your fingertips. For the past 2 decades, CILC has assisted learners all over the world in their quest for discovery. From preschoolers to retirees, the interactive programs offered through the CILC database engages people in discussions, facilitates the acquisition of knowledge, and provides immersion in all subject areas. Use the Content Provider database to find the perfect interactive program that will engage your learners while meeting content goals.
The majority of my elementary students have never traveled outside of Southern Oregon, so visiting a place like New York City or Washington, D.C., it's just out of the question for a group of kids who live in the shadow of unemployed parents and inadequate housing. So whenever I find an opportunity to connect beyond the boundaries of this area, I jump on it. Over the years, CILC has been instrumental in expanding boundaries and igniting inspiration for my kids. We've traveled icy terrains on dog sleds in Alaska. We've met the first president's wife at Mount Vernon. We've explored the universe with NASA and looked into espionage at the International Spy Museum. In short, we brought the entire world into our classroom, and that wouldn't have been possible without the incredible resources and services of CILC.
Explore the professional development marketplace to schedule an acclaimed speaker for your staff's workshops, and browse the Collaboration Center to connect your learners to other learners across the globe for collaborative and innovative learning experiences.
Do y'all have Lobbyland over there in New York? Or?
Do you have your own horses at Stanford?
The Teutonic was made here in Belfast.
This is the cockpit. This is where Amelia sat and directed the plane.
Accompanying its internationally acclaimed website are the dedicated staff of CILC. CILC support services range from technical assistance and planning to consultation on implementing an educational outreach initiative for all types of organizations. Whether you're an organization looking to bring content to your learners or one wishing to utilize collaborative technologies to deliver your message, CILC can guide you throughout the process. Now is the time to stop imagining and begin doing. The world is simply a click away. Let CILC make it easy for you.
Okay, so that sort of gives you a big picture of what we do. I saw a lot of Moat Marine Lab in that video. Casey Gaylord is a star presenter. We also have some star presenters on the call today. So Kelly, unmute your microphone and say hello.
Hi, Kelly Saraceno from Longwood Gardens in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. And then, of course, Jason is at Moat Marine Lab. So these are 2 of our great content providers. We also have content providers outside of the U.S. Ben, you want to say hello?
Yeah, g'day. My name's Ben from Physics Education down in Sydney, Australia.
So there's content providers in Australia and Canada, the Middle East. We have one in Ghana, Africa. So the I in CILC, we truly are international. And I'm going to show you a slide in a minute that shows where all our members are. So let me quickly go back to my little PowerPoint and move it along to the next slide. So these are the big parts of the CILC website. Our content providers, like the folks I just introduced. We have a collaboration center where you can connect with other teachers across the world to do collaborative projects. And then we have a professional learning network, and I'm going to show you that towards the end of the presentation. Also, you can find other sites around the world that are doing interactive video. So this slide shows where our members are located. Of course, most of them are in North America, but as you can see, they're all over the world, South America, Australia, Asia, you name it. There's countries on this list that I never heard of before. Okay. Now, why won't that thing go? Hold on. There we go. So let's talk a little bit first about virtual field trips. Here you see 2 of our top content providers, Kelly Saraceno at Longwood Gardens and Darren Trobaugh at the Alaska Sea Life Center. So we have such a wide variety of content providers, and their topics range in all areas of the curriculum: science, math, social studies, history, you name it. And their programs are geared to all learners. So this isn't just for K-12 students or preschool students, it's also for adults. So we have a lot of retirement centers these days that are joining in on our programs. And there's a total of almost 200 content providers now. I wanted to show you this other video, and I think I'm going to have to run it from my desktop again. This is a project that is taking place in Canada. It's called Connected North, and it's run by some folks that you might recognize their name as Taking IT Global. And so their mission is to connect kids in the very top part of Canada to experts and content from around the globe, because those kids are very, very, very rural, and they're not probably ever going to get out of their locations. So this is how they share the world with them. So hold on a second. Let me find that video. I got too many screens open. And remember, while I'm digging around here, that you can always put your questions in the chat window. Okay, Connected North. Here we go.
We're all connected here and there, north and south, everywhere. We're all connected by what we share. We're all connected because we care.
Connected North is a leading-edge program that delivers immersive and interactive education services to remote and underserved northern communities through high-definition, two-way video communication and collaboration technology.
We have schools and communities in very isolated parts of Canada who are suddenly able to connect with other students across the country, with experts and innovators, scientists, artists, and world leaders through video conference technology.
Cisco is an organization that provides all the infrastructure and plumbing for the internet, and we also provide collaboration technologies. In particular, a technology called telepresence. It's like super high definition video conferencing that really conquers the challenges of time and distance.
The goal of the program is to provide participating students and their teachers with access to content that is engaging and innovative, with the hope of increasing feelings of empowerment in school and in life. Each session is planned in collaboration with the school, taking into consideration the unique strengths, challenges, and learning goals for each classroom. This means creating opportunities for capacity building and professional development for teachers.
They're able to see people who work in the fields that they're studying about.
We got to see what the body looks like without blood and what the brain looks like.
What we're going to do today, guys, that you have difficult time doing in the classroom is I'm going to show you human specimens.
You don't see that in real life.
Like here in school.
They have an opportunity to share what they're interested in, and we look for ways to bring that into the classroom.
Nice and straight. You guys ready? Jab. Hook. Good stuff.
The guy who did the session was totally blown away when one of my students said, I had beluga for lunch.
I had beluga for lunch.
Had beluga for lunch? All right.
One full circle, that's what makes it a medicine wheel, a full-on wheel.
I think it's really important for us to be able to do something other than just being in a class, like different ways of learning.
I was thinking about going to Toronto for film school.
They're learning about what they can do once they finish high school.
There's also an important focus on developing cross-cultural understanding through project-based learning and sharing between schools across the country.
They get to meet new people and understand that there's more out there.
What is the weather like?
Cold. Super cold.
I had no idea what their lives were like, even though we were the same age and they were learning the same things in school.
We eat whale in the Arctic.
I really believe in authentic.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. That video actually gave you a little appetizer for what a collaborative project is. So you saw the kids in Canada talking to content providers. Like the first one was Dave Rouge, who does singing performances while teaching concepts. Then you saw Darren at the Alaska Sea Life Center. But towards the end, you were seeing students doing cultural exchanges with other students, which to me, that's really where there's a lot of power in the use of this technology. So let me just show you real quick the, where'd my PowerPoint go? Hold on.
Weren't they at ISTE last year? Connected North, they had some representatives there.
Yeah, they absolutely were. Their CEO is a guy by the name of Michael, and he's really fun. He's really fun to work with.
Yeah, he was nice.
So share screen, PowerPoint. Here we go. Back on track, folks. So that was Connected North. Let me just show you. I see there's teachers on here that I'm not familiar with, so I'm guessing that you may or may not have ever done any search on CILC. So this is just an example. So you go to the interactive program search and you type in some keywords, like I put in dinosaurs, 4th grade, hit search. Now you could have gone and searched it by the cost of the program or by the content provider as well. So here's the results that came up. There was probably 35, 40 programs around dinosaurs. And the first one, Dinosaurs Unearthing the Facts, it's got a star and a thumbs up. Those are based on teacher evaluations. So when you see that star and thumbs up, you know it's probably a good program because 39 other educators have recommended it. It also is a Pinnacle Award winner. It's hard for you to see this, but there's a little flame right there that shows that they have won the Pinnacle Award honorable mention all the way up till 2016, and that's the Milwaukee Public Museum. Underneath that, you get a short description of the program and who it's for, and if you click on it, you get this very long, detailed program with the description format, objectives, cost if there is any, etc. And from there, see this little red button at the top, you can request this program now. All right, now if you have any questions about the interactive video programs around various topics, go ahead and type that into the chat because I want to switch over to the other subject I was getting all excited about, and that is collaborations. The way I define it is that when you have one group of students connected to another group of students to interact around a topic of mutual interest. Anything in the curriculum, if your students want to practice doing a presentation, they can present to another class of students, older, younger, the same age, somewhere else in the world. And this is really important. You saw in that video how engaged those kids were when they were talking to each other. You know, even if it's silly things like, you know, talking about the weather. Well, that's not so silly, is it? Because we start most of our meetings talking about the weather when we're based all over the United States. So this picture is probably 10 or 15 years old, but I love it because it shows you a real simple little collaboration. You've got kids in Miami connected up to kids in New York City. And if you can see what they've got in their hands, you'll know the topic of their collaboration that they're sharing is reptiles. So no telling what those kids in New York City are sharing with the kids in Miami on their end. So this is an example of a really simple collaboration, one-time event. And then there's also some really big projects like Read Across America. Here's one that we do every year called Ripples Make Waves. And this is sponsored by the United Nations. Joan Rory puts this program on. It lasts for 24 hours. So Tammy and I are up all night monitoring student presentations. Last year we had 20 countries participate, 400 sites. Most of the sessions were presented by students, and it was all around the conservation of water and, you know, the environment and saving the environment. So if you didn't get to participate in that last year, be looking for notices on our newsletter about the one coming up this March. So how do you find partners for these collaborations? If you want, you can go to the CILC and click on the tab that says Collaborations, and you'll see a list of all the current projects going on. And you can also search by your topic. So I did one, I wanted to see if there was any projects going on around engineering. So I hit search and I came back and there's one going on, 5th grade pen pals, gifted, talented. I have 20 students. We're studying engineering and roller coasters. We will be starting a unit on the ocean after the first of the year, blah, blah, blah. So when you click on the name of the project, it will take you to a little more detail and give you the email address of the teacher that is running the project. You can also view collaborations going on outside of the U.S. And a lot of these are language exchange or cultural exchange, international geared topics. Now, I mentioned CapSpace. That's the second bullet there. That is the project that has Read Around the Planet and various other collaboration projects. So that's highly recommended as a place to go to find other collaborative projects. It's similar to our collaboration center, but it's a little more evolved than ours. Some of the other ones that I've been involved with over the years are ePals, and that's kind of a play off of, you know, sending letters back and forth between the kids. Global SchoolNet, Global Nomads Group, and then of course Taking IT Global, the one I showed you up in Canada. So we can share these slides with anybody that wants them if you want to check out some of these URLs. All right, so the final thing I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to try to get through this in 30 minutes, is the Personal Learning Network on CILC. So we have partnered with Cisco to build a PLN area on the CILC website. And our goals were originally to just build an area where teachers that have things in common can share tools and best practices. It's a place where we can put up professional learning opportunities and resources. And then one of the things we're looking to do with Cisco in the future is to build a badging area. So we'll have a badge for teachers that do virtual field trips. We'll have a badge for content providers. We'll have a badge for those that participate in a collaborative project. So that's coming up soon. And when somebody gets a badge, they're also going to get an enterprise license of Cisco Spark, which is very exciting. So anyway, within our PLN right now, there's a discussion area where you can find your colleagues on CILC and start a discussion or even have a chat. And that's something that's just going to get much bigger when we go with the Spark platform. There's an area where we just list our PLN events. For example, today's webinar was listed there. We do Twitter updates, so I'm constantly trolling Twitter to find items of interest for our CILC members. We have lots of good blog posts. I just put up one last week from Peter Picone out in California on the top 10 teacher bloggers in the US, and it's full of really great resources. You might want to check that out. And then finally, right now we've got the newest collaborations come up in the PLN. And this is the future. This is what the Spark space looks like. So you can create your own teams. You can upload videos or PowerPoints or what have you within your workspace with other teachers. You can have chat conversations in the space. And you can also click on a call button and escalate to a video call. And we're going to be giving this away to our content providers and charging a very nominal fee for educators to get their own Spark enterprise license, like $12 a year. So that's it. I'm going to stop sharing and let's see if there's any questions out there. Jason, do I have any questions?
Yep, you answered one of them about sharing the presentation. And then I was also hoping you could share a couple of the new things that I've heard you talk about with CILC. I know the kind of carnival ticketing price structure is not so new, but it's kind of newish. How does that work? Because that was what the little ticket icons were.
Yeah, so you saw the little tickets when I showed you a program. And what this is it's kind of like a mini content dollar bank where you take a few $100s and bank it at CILC and then purchase your programs with your tickets. That way you don't have to deal with the vendors and paying each content provider yourself. We do the payments for you, which can be kind of a nightmare when you have, like these preferred vendor policies and such. So it's kind of a kindergarten way of getting started with a content dollar bank. Those are usually bigger, like $5,000, and for people that get grants. So we've got a lot of big districts and service centers that have content dollar banks, but individual schools would do well with a Carnival package.
And then we've been talking here and there in our IVC PLN about streamable content. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between what we call a streamable event and what is, I guess, a collaboration or a point-to-point connection, kind of like what we're doing now?
Yep.
And how is CILC working with that?
Okay, so there's been a lot of interest in doing streaming programs, and the big difference is that it's not very interactive. It's mainly a presenter or two that are sharing content, and then the interaction happens usually in a chat window. It's not interactive between all the sites. So this webinar so far has been kind of like a streaming event because I've got multiple people. You're not talking, just Jason and I are talking. Now, if I throw all the microphones open, then it switches over into an interactive program. So on CILC, we have something called virtual expeditions. Then I always want to say excursions just because of you. That's how they say it in Australia. But what that is we've got 2 top content providers every month that are doing programs for free for all of our premium plan members. And if you don't know what that is, you pay us $50 a year and you get discounts on a lot of the programs, plus you get access into the streaming virtual expeditions. So there you go. What else?
You talked a little bit about content providers. I kind of wanted to go over that again. If a school wants to get started with CILC, how does that process work? And then if a content provider, a museum, a zoo, an aquarium wanted to start offering content, what would they do?
So there is a section on our website on how to get started as a content provider, but your quick way to do that is to contact Tammy. Tammy, raise your hand and say hello. And Tammy, type your email address into the chat window so people can get to you very quickly. Tammy is our content provider liaison. She's a former content provider in Minnesota, but now she's been at CILC for about 3 years and she's my right arm. But she will get you started as a content provider. For educators or individuals, you just go to our website and sign up as a member for free. You can book a program without doing anything else by booking it as an individual member. If you decide to get serious about this, then you would register your site and get a PIN number, and that way you can administer your program requests and keep an eye on everything that's going on. Anything else?
All right, just going to throw it out there. Anyone out there, if you have any questions, throw it in there.
I see there's a couple of Spark questions. I really can't answer those because I'm kind of new to it as well. I've had it on my desktop for the last year and used it sporadically, but we're thinking of integrating it into our website, like I said, mainly because Cisco has been really helpful to us and want to spread this into every classroom in the world, and we're going to be their test site to do that. So we're looking forward to more about that. We'll have a couple of Spark webinars coming up in the future.
Yeah, that's something I want to see if we can get Cisco on to one of these IVC chats to talk about what Spark is and how people can take advantage of it. So talking about that, what technology nowadays would you say a school needs, a teacher needs, or a school needs to do these interactive connections, collaborations, excursions?
So you probably got most of what you need already if you have like a projector or interactive board. if you've got the internet and a internet connected device like a laptop. What you might want to add on is a nice little webcam that you can get for less than $100 that has a built-in microphone on it, and that will get you a bigger view. So if you're connecting with Kelly at Longwood, she can see all your students rather than just the person sitting in front of the computer. You might also, if your projector doesn't include sound, you might want to get a little speakerphone-like thing that's also less than $100 that you can put out in the middle of the room so that the content providers can hear the kids in the back of the room.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of teachers will try to use just their laptop, which is great for one-on-one collaboration, but it's not really designed for using for a whole room as well. Another big consideration that I, as a content provider, have is feedback, where I hear myself coming back because there's no echo cancellation built into the system that the schools might have, especially on older laptops. They won't have that. So sometimes it's nice to get an external microphone pod that has the kind of echo cancellation circuitry built into it and have those available. And it's usually better at picking up an entire room's worth of sound versus just a little laptop mic.
Absolutely. So there's lots of solutions out there now. You could use Skype, which is free. You're not going to have very good security or stability. The one we're using now is Zoom, and it's pretty stable and very secure. So there's, you know, if you had asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have given you a totally different answer. I would say you have to go out and buy a $6,000–7,000 video conferencing unit, and that is no longer the case. So I think the price has really improved a lot since the bad old days, and the stability and security have also improved over those last 10 years.
Yeah, I like to say that we're kind of technology agnostic at our place because there's just so many places, the Google, Skype, Zoom, now we've got Spark, plus the old traditional H.323 connection. So we try to connect by whatever means necessary, and schools come at us with all kinds of options. The other thing we can do is maybe you could look into your CILC crystal ball and just tell us if you have any predictions for what we'll be seeing either at ISTE 2018 in the coming year, or maybe out the next 5 years with both this technology and also CILC and all these crazy things that we work with.
Okay, let me do the ISTE side of that question first. So we're very excited that our PLN has had several of our sessions accepted for ISTE 2018. The one that I'm really excited about, and I hope that you can come if you're going to be at ISTE, is called the Kings of Collaboration. And I've got 3 teachers, one in California, high school teacher, one in Milan, Italy, an international primary teacher, and a digital education coach out in Las Vegas. And I'm going to be talking to them about how they use this technology to connect their kids to famous people and experts around the world. I mean, they're all 3 really great at it, and they each take a different approach to how they do that. So with CILC, we're going to be having a new web refresh in the next couple of months. Tammy is busy working on that to make the process a little bit easier for teachers to sign up for their programs. And then, of course, the integration with Spark is coming down the line. So there you go.
I'm just reading through some of the questions and comments here. Somebody has mentioned that Audra's mentioned that Logitech, I would second what she mentioned in the chat, that Logitech has a lot of very small, affordable conferencing solutions. Typically at the conference, we will do a kind of a playground area at the one of the breakout areas, and we'll try to demonstrate and have these kind of technologies available for people to get hands-on experience with, both the software platforms as well as some of the hardware. And did somebody have a question
about collaborations?
Yeah, what was that?
What's the benefits of using CILC versus Google Plus Communities? Is it the content providers? Blah, blah. So, yeah, you can go under find collaborations, but you can also post your own collaborations. I don't think I mentioned that. So the difference is with Google Plus, you kind of get what they have to offer, but with CILC, you can make your own offer to other teachers to get new connections for your kids.
Yeah, and I'd say that kind of like I was saying, we're platform agnostic with our technology connections. I'm kind of like PLN agnostic just because there's so many options out there. I tried to go to all of them. We've got Twitter, we've got our own internal ISTE PLN, CILC has options, and of course, yeah, there's Google Plus, and it's kind of like that fear of missing out, right? Because there might be good content in this PLN, and you want to try to share it as much as possible. So I don't have a good answer for that. If anyone does and wants to chime in or chat in, let me know.
If you're an ISTE member, I'd recommend joining the Global Collaboration PLN. They're kind of our sister organization and do a lot of similar work to what we do.
Yeah, you have any suggestions on how to get money for these funding grants and for hardware, software, and connections?
Oh, that's always a hard question because, you know, a lot of the grant opportunities from the old days are not around anymore. If you're in a very rural area, you can probably qualify for a RUS grant through the Department of Agriculture. And those are biggies. You can get like $500,000 to do video. But you know what? You're probably going to have to work with a partner that sells codecs like Lifesize or Cisco or Polycom. If you're wanting just to get a few bucks to get your web camera and stuff, I would go start with the top of your school and see if your parent-teacher organization can help you with those costs. A lot of times they'll take up a collection, you know, because, hey, it really doesn't cost that much to get started. So you could go sell some cookies or T-shirts or something just to get started. And I don't know if I mentioned this during my presentation, but at least 30% of our programs are free. So the ones from federally funded organizations like the Smithsonian, the national parks, those are all free. We've got 3 national parks just in Alaska that do these free programs.
Yeah.
I was just going to say another thing that I've seen a lot of teachers do as kind of a way to get the parents behind it is they do it for a parent night for the grade. And so the grade does a whole subject on whatever they're going to connect to the content provider, the students present, and then them and their parents go on a virtual field trip to the location that they have chosen. So then the parents feel like they get to see that firsthand, thought it was really cool, go home, and then they start kind of funding those from then on.
So the trick is to get it going for the first time and invite all of your powerful people in your school to come see it. Once they see it and they're immersed in it, they go, wow, what do we got to do to keep this going?
All right, I think we're getting close to the end here. One last call for a round of questions. All right. Jan, one of the things I want to do is throw it over to Audra, our IVC PLN president, and see if she has any updates about what's coming up for the conference, award nominations, and that kind of stuff. So Audra, are you out there? Yep.
I'm here. Thank you, Jason. And I will mention along with that last conversation, use your PLNs, use the people like that are on this call together. I learned so much from learning from them and calling on them to say, hey, I need help. I can't figure this out. And then I've also in return helped anybody that I've met. Just this year, I met at last year's ISTE Playground, a gentleman in New Jersey, and he contacted me mid-year, and I helped him connect and get some equipment going and working with the technology and do some demos for his teachers so they could start getting on board. So yeah, help each other and learn from each other is huge. And that's a big part of attending ISTE as well, is getting to meet these people that you have in common and learning from them and creating that network of people. One of the things that we have coming up is February 1st. As they mentioned, we have a chat with Sue Porter with Cap Space, and that's a big collaboration area. So we're looking forward to that, and it'll be in the same type of environment. So you'll be able to ask questions during the chat. And then we're also coming up with some tech chats. One of the topics coming up is Zoom, and it'll be in this format as well, to where you can open mic and say, how do you use it? You know, or I ran into this problem. How did you fix this? You know, how did you solve this? What equipment do you use with it? What's worked? What hasn't? So you can be involved and not just, you know, listen to a presenter and not be able to interact. So that's one thing, since we work with video, we like to use it, you know, properly. And then Cisco Spark is on the agenda as well, coming up in the next couple months for our PD series. And then we do have an award program. The ISTE IVC PLN is giving away 2 awards this year at the conference. And I will say, I believe if it's the same as last year, Jan, you may have to jump in. The winner of the award gets a registration paid for them. Is that correct still?
Yes, one of them gets a registration, and the other one, I think the teacher winner, gets a set of virtual field trips.
Okay. So the 2-part is there is an informal educator, so a content provider award, and then there's an award for educators. So that could be tech directors, teachers, administrators, you know, anybody that's implemented anything cool with video conferencing, you know, in a school or a district. So be on the lookout for that. We're getting ready to send that information out soon. So if you've got someone in mind or you would like to win it, watch for that email. Did I miss anything, Jason?
No, that's pretty good. I remember I got I was privileged to win the award last year, and they gave me a free year of ISTE membership as part of that. So I don't know if that's still the consideration, but that was nice.
Yeah, and if you join the PLN and become the president, you get a free year too.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thanks to Jan and Tammy over at CILC. Thank you, Audra. And thanks to everyone who's come in. If you still have questions about this, typically what we do is Tammy is very quick with taking the recording and posting it to the discussion area on ISTE. So if you have any follow-up questions, we will see you there. Otherwise, that's it, folks. Say goodbye.